Hey, welcome back to Life the Wild Ride. I know you probably saw the video of me talking about this trailer, but this is actually build video 1, or in this case, deconstruction. So I don't need a lot of these uprights. I'm gonna get rid of all these, get this here, and I don't know if you can see the two back there. There's one right there by Tracy, and then one over here. I'm gonna cut all those down, so I don't want those. I'm just gonna start with a base and then build from there. And then I'm just gonna get this thing, well, today that's all we're probably gonna do is cut those things off. Maybe I'll take several days before I get one video put together. But first step is to cut all that crap off and then clean this thing all up so we can get some rust killer on it and paint it all up before we start building. I'm gonna pull all the wires out of it too, put all new wires in it. Oh, and if anybody knows, my dad knew this actually is out of a front end of a vehicle. And it's an older vehicle. If anybody recognizes this front end, let me turn the camera around so you can get it. So as I was saying, this is made out of a front end of a vehicle. And it's an older vehicle, but I'm just gonna show all these components here. And what they did is they took the tie rod here, the steering rod, and they welded both of them here in the center. And then they welded up the steering knuckle joint there so it can't turn. And basically made a trailer out of it using that axle, that cross member, and the leaf springs. But of course my dad has passed away, and I'd like to know what this came off of, and I just can't remember. I know he told me once, but it's got a really nice old hubcap. But again, this is a front end of a vehicle. I want to say it was a car, could have been a truck, but if anybody recognizes any of this, not this obviously, but like the spring mechanisms, you know, and all this down here, it's probably really hard to tell, but it's older for sure. All of this stuff is new. All these, let me back up here. All this framework on top is something that they built to make the actual trailer, which is fine. So we're going to reuse most of that, but it's just that the spring and the axle itself, axle beam, I would like to know what it came off of. Not that it's a big deal, but if anybody out there is a antique car expert that knows about wheels and front ends, please comment. All right, so I did go ahead and make one cut here, and I just kind of set it back up here. So that one's cut off. Basically, I'm going to go around and cut all these off and get this upper stuff out of the way, and then decide if I'm going to cut this down so the plywood will lay flat, or if I'm going to build it up and go over it, because we're going to make this trailer a little bit longer than what it is at the moment. It is currently 4 by 6, and I want 4 by 8. So that's where we're at. So I have all those uprights cut off, and I think it's already looking better. It's looking cleaner, getting more to the base of what we're going to start with. And of course, this is not what we're using. I just had a 4 by 8 sheet of thin, just wafer board here, and I just threw it on there just to kind of get a visual of what we'd be starting at for a base, because we're adding to it front and back. The tongue really needs to be 3 feet, and right now it's only 2 feet where we have this, so I may have to make some modifications. Maybe we will shrink it down a little bit, we'll see. But we can see we're a foot past the frame in the back here, and we're about a foot past the frame in the front. But again, this is just a sheet of thin stuff. I'm just trying to get a visual of what we're looking to do. Hey, welcome back to Life the Wild Ride and Trailer Build Part 2. I think it's Part 2. I think I only talked about the first time and a little bit the second time. Whatever, anyways, roughly Part 2. Today I'm going to be cutting off some of the old bolts that I was talking about, and starting to clean the frame up a little bit so we can get it painted up. Now I was going to get the grinding wheel out and grind all these off, but they're so rusted that I'm not even taking any effort just to snap them off with the bolt cutters. And then I'll take a hammer and go around and knock the bottom sides all out. And just make sure I throw those away so they don't get run over. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That was the last one to cut off. Now I just gotta go around and pound out the bottom half of them so they're not falling out as we're driving down the road. Let's get them all out of here and get it cleaned up. All right, so I got all those bolts out, and I knocked them out with a ball peen hammer here. The bottom half of them So basically you can see where I cut it off, and then I just knocked this out through to get these out of there. Now all I'm gonna do is just take this wire wheel here and just work my way around the whole frame here and try to clean it up. So I'll just show you a little bit of that. This steel is actually in excellent shape. It's probably back when they made metal with, you know, virgin metal, so it's nice and good stuff. It's not really that rusted. All you've seen is surface rust for the most part. So I'm just going to get it all cleaned up, so when we paint it, it'll be going to the metal itself, not all the flaking paint, old rust. And I'm going to do it with this a little bit. I'll probably switch up to a couple different tools, but I was gonna flip it over, but I might get the tractor to do that, so I can do the underside. And I think if I flip it, I will go ahead and clean it up and paint the underside right away, so I don't have to flip it twice. I could get some help, I suppose, but let me try something else. Maybe if I flip it this way. No, probably not, because now you lift the whole thing. Problem is, I can't let it drop. I think it shouldn't hit anything. All right, I'm gonna carefully try to go around without having it fall. Hope this is entertaining. This is not your run-of-the-mill trailer you pick up online. Cheap, that's for sure. Yeah, I think I got it. I probably will let it drop once we get closer. Yeah. Whew, that's heavy. Now, oh, that was close to the camera. Now I will clean the underside up. And while it's upside down, I am going to paint the underside, because I don't want to flip this twice. And I don't want to be laying on my back trying to paint it. I might end up getting the tractor to lift it back up instead of killing myself. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I did take the air hose and blow all the dust off after I wire brushed it all up. And now I am putting some of this paint on. And it's just stuff I had for free. Actually, Dad had it. It's a stock rust oil-based enamel. So we're going to go ahead and do the whole underside first, just to get a coat of paint on it. And it wasn't that I wanted yellow, it just that's what I had, and it's going to be on the frame, most of which you'll never see. But we want to protect it, so that's what we're going to do. Coat everything underneath here yellow, flip it over, and do the same thing on the other side. Well, all right, underside has got a layer of paint on it. Not perfect, but that's okay. I'm gonna be flipping this over and putting a lot more on. I can always reach underneath, but basically I just want to get some paint on this thing to protect it. Not too worried about the hitch, because we're probably gonna be changing that out to a different style hitch. But at least now we have some paint on the underside, which would have been a lot harder reaching up underneath the paintbrush trying to do it. Probably would have missed a lot more. So looking pretty good. Now I just got to get it flipped back over so we can do the top. All right, so Tracy came out, helped me get it flipped back over here. So we're gonna just paint the top side now, just to get a coat of paint on to help protect it. This is gonna be really protected from the weather on the top anyways, but from underneath, road debris and all that, just want to do something. So we're gonna go ahead and get a coat on the top side of it now. And then after that, the majority of the work will be done inside the garage, which is good because it's the end of September and winter is coming here in Maine. So I want to get this part done so I could just do this outside here in case I have to do any cutting or grinding or anything. And keeps the paint smell out of the garage as well. Well, there, we got a coat of paint on it. It's pretty darn good. So there is a start to the project. All we're going to do now is let it dry, and then we'll get rolled back into the garage. Well, thanks for swinging by Life the Wild Ride, and we'll let you know when there's another update on our tiny camper build. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. And remember, life is a wild ride. Well, it's looking a little better, Michelle. I hope it's ready by May. If not, we're going to be having a rough night's sleep.